Ever tried budgeting and felt like you were doing it all wrong? I get it. And budgeting can feel overwhelming if you've never done it before and you don't know where to start. So, I'm going to show you step by step simple ways to start from scratch. No complicated math required, no fancy spreadsheets. If you want a simple spreadsheet, I got one. It'll be in the description below. But that's not what this video is about. We're talking about where we're starting from scratch. And so by the end of this video, you're going to have a budget that actually works for you and your life. Hey y'all, I'm Megan. I'm a money mentor and I help women just like you take control of your money without stress and confusion. I went from living paycheck to paycheck to having a budget that actually works for me and my family. And my budget will look different from your budget, just like your budget's going to look different from your neighbor's budget. Like everybody's budget is going to look different. That is why I like to show you why you're creating it, how to create it, and not just it's income in, money out, and that's your budget. Like we're going to learn the meat and bones of starting the budget from scratch. And if that sounds great and you are ready to break through those money struggles, then hit the subscribe button and let's do this together. All right, step one, it's very easy. So step one is figuring out your income. You got to know what's coming in. You got to know what you're working with before we can figure out what we're budgeting. So figure out your income. Income is anything coming into your bank account. That is your paycheck. If you've got a side hustle, if you've got child support coming in, anything, any kind of money coming into your account is considered income. And once we figure out what that income is, write it down. You're going to write down where it came from and how much. And do that for the entire month. How much do you have in your bank account for the month? If you have a variable income, so if my husband was a server and a bartender for years of our marriage, and I never knew from day to day what he was going to bring in, more or less what we were going to have for the month. And so if you have a variable income where you don't know from week to week what it's going to be, look at last month, see how much you brought in, and find that lowest amount. That's what we're going to work with. Because I'd rather you budget at that lowest amount and then end up hitting higher amounts and having extra money versus trying to look at that higher amount and not making that, and then your budget's screwed. So that's how you're going to do if you have variable income. Number two, probably what you'll hear me preach about more than anything ever if you have followed me for any amount of time, and that is track your spending. We got to know where the money's going. So now we figured out where it's coming from. We got to know where it's going. Why is this step so important? It's because most people do not realize how much they spend on, especially the little things until they actually track it. So it's very easy, as you know in the last video, which you can watch here, where I tried to rely on memory to see how much I spent and I couldn't remember. So if I couldn't remember 2 weeks ago what I spent just in one category, there's no way you can remember all your categories for an entire month of what you spent. Then when you go look and you actually track it and you see what you spent, you're going to be shocked. Trust me on that. So, there's two different ways to do this. Where you can either, one, look at last month's bank statement. So pull up your bank transactions, see where you spent money, write it down, highlight different colors so that you can see different categories. So every time you spent money at a restaurant, highlight it yellow. Every time you spent money at the grocery store, highlight it orange. Or you can go ahead and write groceries and list them out underneath it. That's what I like to do. I like to make the categories and then list all the amounts underneath. Whatever works for your brain, that's how we're going to do it. If you're like, I don't want to look at last statement, that's totally fine. Let's do it real time. You're going to start today and you're going to start tracking every time you spend money. And then at the end of the month, you're going to know what you spent and you'll start your budget the next month. So however you want to track, That's how we're going to track. But we got to start somewhere. Now, since we are starting from scratch and you have no idea what you've been spending your money on, we're going to keep it simple. I'm all about keeping it simple. You're going to track your bills, your groceries, your gas, your dining out, and miscellaneous. If creating a budget sounds super overwhelming to you, those are the 5 categories you're going to start with. We're going to expand out on that later on once we have started a budget, but for right now, just do those 5. If you're feeling brave and you want to add a couple more, you can add entertainment, you can add savings, you can add a couple of things. But if you're just starting out from scratch, just do those 5. And then we're going to look, because the groceries, dining out, the gas, and the bills, those are stuff you're going to spend every month on. The miscellaneous, that's where it gets tricky. That is the one we will look at the next month, where we can find a pattern. Okay, I usually spend a lot, on Amazon or clothes shopping or whatever. And then we can break the categories out from the miscellaneous. But for right now, you can throw it all into that. All right, so we know our income coming in. We are now tracking our expenses, the money going out. Step number 3. Now you need to list your fixed expenses and your variable expenses. We want those to be 2 separate things. So you're going to look at your bills. Those are fixed expenses. Your mortgage, your car payment, your insurance, your cell phone bill. Things that are the same every single month. Those are fixed. And I need you to list that out so that you can see it. Then look at, all the variable expenses, which is the groceries, the gas, all of those things. Anything that changes month to month that you know that you were spending, we're going to list that out. Here's a tip though. When you're doing this, be realistic. Don't, I have seen it multiple times where, my clients have said, oh, I don't eat out that much. We don't eat out that much. We probably only spend, I only eat out 1 or 2 times a month. Then we go and we track it for the month, and they're eating out 7, 8, 9 times. But to them, we don't eat out that much. That's fine. But we need to know. We need to know those numbers. So be realistic. Don't be like, oh, I probably only spend $20 eating out when you're spending $100 eating out. So, really think, use that, what you've tracked. That's why, especially if you are doing the tracking for the 30 days before, you can see clearly how much you ate out, and kind of work with it. All right, so step 4 is we're going to create a simple budget. So I love sports, and so your money is like a team, and we're going to put every player on our team in the game. Not because we are, getting participation trophies. It's because we have a freaking awesome team and we need every player to play. Most people think a budget is all about restrictions, and I'm here to tell you that is not the case. It's about making your money work for you. That's why I say it's a team, and we're going to put the players in where we want them to play, where we know they're best suited. All right, so how we're going to do this? Keeping it simple. Start with your income. Subtract those fixed expenses, because those fixed expenses have to be paid first. Otherwise, you're going to be homeless and living not in your car because you won't have a car because you didn't pay for it. So, got to have those fixed expenses paid first. Then you're going to assign what's left to those variable expenses. Now, if you don't have a lot left, then you're not going to be doing a lot of stuff with those variable expenses, but you're going to need groceries, gas. Do those first. That's going to be your next ones. Then what's left after that, then you might can go out to eat, then you might can do some other stuff. But you have to do it in order. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So, let me give you an example. So, if you make $3,000 and your fixed expenses is $1,500, simple math, you get to decide where the other $1,500 goes. Groceries, debt, savings, fun, however. I'm not here to tell you what to do with it. I'm just here to show you how to make it work for you. That's what I want for you, is to get a budget that you make work for you in your life. Because if I tell you you're going to do this, this, this with your money, you're going to go no, 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 and you're not going to keep the budget more than a month because it doesn't work for you. We don't want to force it. I was working with a client the other day, and that's what we were talking about different things she needed to start doing, and we kept it really simple because, she's going from not doing this to doing this. And I'm like, if I make this too complicated, if this seems like a chore for you, you're not going to do it. Who loves to do laundry? No, nobody, because it's a chore. I mean, we have to, but otherwise, because we'd walk around naked. But when it feels like a chore, you don't want to do it. So we don't want to make our budget feel like a chore. We want to make it feel like we're in control and we're got the best team out there and we're doing the best with it. So here is another tip when it comes to starting your budget from scratch is don't budget for every dollar down to the dollar. So let's go back to the example. If you make $3,000 a month, not make, if you bring home $3,000 a month, then I want you to only budget for $2,800. Why are we going to do this? So that $200, we're going to say, if you don't follow sports, it's not going to make any sense. But if you do, then stay with me. But it is baseball season. I love all sports. So that $200 is going to be your closer. So if you are winning, which means if you are ahead with your money and you are not going negative, then you don't have to bring your best player in. You get to just bring in your less, another, not your best closer. You're bringing in another guy. And that $200 is going to work for you somewhere else. If, you end up going over on a category or two and you're, going to be, your budget showing you're going to be a little negative, you're going to bring that closer in. He's going to save the day because you're going to bring in that $200. So you're going to, I suggest, round up. So let's say your power bill is $289. Go ahead and round up to $300. If you don't feel safe with that, just do $290. But round up to $300. That's going to give you, each time you round up, that gives you a little buffer. If you're not budgeting for the exact amount you're bringing home, you're going $100, $200 less than that, that's a little buffer. Those little things are going to save your tail when you have a bad month and you do go over on on one of your categories. It's not going to derail your budget completely because you're kind of planning for it. So, and if you have a great month and you are under on everything, we're going to put that money in savings. We're going to start building that emergency fund. Oh, what? Yeah, that's what we're doing. We are making it work. We're going to start getting our bills paid on time. We're going to start actually, putting money to savings for goals that we have. So this is, baby steps. This is what we're doing. Okay, with that being said, this is not going to be perfect, and that first month is going to be real messy. So don't freak out when you go through all this and you feel like I did everything like I'm supposed to, and it's still, the numbers aren't, the math ain't mathing. It's okay. It's going to take you about 3 months in order to get your budget under control. First month is just learning your spending habits. Second month is working with those numbers. Third month, you're like, oh, I got this. Like, it's going to start coming together, making sense. So don't freak out if it don't work in the first month. And definitely, please, 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 don't give up. Don't give up. And so, budgeting is a skill, and you have to practice. Just like our players on the team, on a sports team have to practice. We got to practice with our budget. And the more you do it, the better you get. So let's recap. Know your income, Track your spending, list your expenses, create the simple budget, test and adjust. And I'm going to throw in subscribe to this channel so that you can keep getting information to help you with your budget. I'm excited. I've got a new little series coming up. So be sure to check back. Click that little bell. It will notify you when anytime I do a new video. And put in the comments what's your biggest struggle right now when it comes to budgeting? Is it just getting started? Is it, I've tried this before and it didn't work. I don't have time to try. Let me know what your struggle is and let's work this out together. I will answer it. I might even create you your own video. Like, but let me know. And if you are like, okay, that sounds simple and still not sure exactly where to start, I got you there too. I've got a budget starter kit. It is a 5-day quick start budget plan, and all it is free. First off, that's important. But you get an email for 5 days in a row, helping you with each of these steps that we talked about. And so at the end, you're gonna have a budget set up, a simple budget set up, so that you can start your budgeting journey. That link is in the description below. Click it. And if you do that, you will be on my email list and you will start getting weekly emails with tips, challenges, myth busting, all kinds of stuff. I don't spam you. You won't get like 100 million emails from you. But anyway, if you're interested in that, click that link. And like I said, subscribe. And I hope you have a great day.